one of the most ancient civilizations on Earth comes some surprisingly delicious food. Beautifully spiced, some recipes dating back to the days of the pharaohs. Welcome to the delicious, healthy world of Egyptian food. Join our food safari to learn the amazing properties of the beloved molokhia. How to make true Egyptian dukkha. Australia's version of Nile perch cooked in clay. The delights of an elaborate Egyptian breakfast and a beautiful dessert with a hint of rosewater.
Egyptian food is hearty and healthy. We eat a lot. We don't eat to live, we live to eat. So our table, if we have family and friends over, it's not less than 20 different plates of food. If you go back 5,000 years to the days of the pharaohs, I can see them sitting down and eating molokhia. It's a very old cuisine.
Rami Magala grew up in the souks and spice shops of Cairo and trained to be a chef in Australia after a life-changing moment when he was managing a hotel. He stepped in to cook for a function at short notice and realised he was born to cook. Armed with many traditional Egyptian recipes, Rami owns and cooks at Tagine restaurant in Sydney.
Egyptians can't eat without spices. Cumin definitely is one of the really important spices that we use every day. Just smell that. It's beautiful.
That's the smell of Egypt, is it?
That's the smell of Egypt. We use it on fool, we use it in lots of seafood dishes, marinades, even the dukkha. This is buharat. Buharat in Arabic means spice mix. It's pimento, white and black pepper, cinnamon, lots of cinnamon.
Lovely.
Cloves and nutmeg. We use it with meat and okra. We use it with just the vegetables, everything. We use coriander in the dukkha, for example. It's the main ingredient in the national dish of Egypt, the molokhia. So it's very well used in Egypt. Ghee is clarified butter. It's the butter oil itself. And it's purer, it's lighter, it's beautiful. We use it to cook eggs, to main dishes and sweets as well, so in everything.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner?
Breakfast, lunch, dinner. We love beans. Beans, lentils, they're full of protein. They fill you up and they're beautiful.
And do beans go back to the days of the pharaohs?
They built the pyramids, for God's sake. They need protein. So we have the fava beans. We love it just for breakfast. We have the split fava beans.
Ah, right. So they've got the skin off.
Yes, and we blanch them and we use them for the falafel when we're making falafel from scratch. When you go to someone's house in Egypt, they usually offer you nuts straight away.
Welcome to my house.
Yes, welcome to my house kind of thing. We usually have almonds, we usually have the pistachios in the mix. We have peanuts, which is a big thing in Egypt, and hazelnuts.
And are you cooking with nuts as well?
We cook with nuts. We put it on top of rice sometimes. We do have peanuts with the dukkha, almonds with basbousa, and we have also the pistachios on top of many other desserts. One other thing that we use is the egg noodles, the sharia, and we use it for the rice. We fry the sharia first and then add the stock to it and the rice and all of that. It's one of the main dishes that accompany all our mains.
Rami, you're looking very lovingly at this.
Yeah, I love karkade. It's hibiscus tea. That's the petals of the hibiscus flower. We dry it and we boil it with some sugar. And we drink it hot or cold. It has good medicinal qualities to it. It reduces high blood pressure, so it's a good drink to have when it's 40 degrees in Egypt.
Yeah.
So that's why we drink it a lot, cold and hot.
And it tastes?
It tastes beautiful.
One of the most important meals of the day in Egypt is breakfast. There are no small bowls of cereal here, it's full on. And it all centres around a dish poetically known as a stone in the stomach.
Traditionally, the first national breakfast dish is full medamas. And they say once you eat that, you don't eat anything for the rest of the day. The word ful means fava beans. The word medamis means buried. It's the Coptic word for buried. And that's because traditionally they used to bake it in the ground and cover it with coals. And it's cooked for 8 to 10 hours.
Amira Georgie is on the senior production staff of a major food magazine, bringing recipes from a whole range of cuisines. But at home, she makes Egyptian food for her family. Tell me about Egyptian brekkie.
Well, traditionally, you have lots of little dishes, a few sweet, a few savoury, very hands-on.
Beautiful. Now, show me how to eat.
Always grab some bread, slurp some up like that, and throw it in the mouth. It's beautiful.
Oh, that is so nice.
So what we have here is hard-boiled eggs, which are then peeled, and then you heat up some really lovely ghee, throw the eggs in till they start crisp on the outside. And you can eat them like that, or you can choose to mash them through the ful, through the beans. It just adds another dimension, another richness to it.
It certainly does.
Yeah. This is probably the equivalent to Australian eggs and bacon.
Eggs and basturma?
Basturma, that's right. Basturma is beef that's been air-dried and then salt-cured and hung for months. It's then very thinly sliced and can be tossed through eggs with butter and a bit of olive oil.
That's nice and spicy.
Yeah.
I could give up bacon happily.
Yeah. And then you have here molasses, which is eaten with the fatir mashalated. What you can do also is mix the tahina with the molasses, which kind of tastes like halva.
Wow.
Well done.
Deeply satisfying, isn't it? Tell me, is there some terrible thing that I could possibly do that would make Egyptian people gasp?
Not eat. Then they'd be offended.
Life cannot be without ful.
Wow.
Ful is the actual staple.
And the taste of it is
Beautiful. Addictive. Can't stop it.
life-changing. Wow. Alice Ibrahim has two passions, cooking and belly dancing. She teaches both and has passed on the secrets of making ful to countless students. One taste, she says, is all it takes.
2 cups of ful or fava beans to 1 cup of red lentils. All what you do is cover it in water, let it boil. Once it starts bubbling, a minute, turn it on the lowest heat, simmering.
For how long?
For this quantity, 5 hours. The traditional Egyptian way is you just serve it with salt and pepper, kamoon, which is cumin, lemon juice, and olive oil. In the streets in Egypt, we have it with the salata baladi, like it's real Egyptian salad. Everything is real finely chopped into a sandwich with tahini and pickles. You just hold it and hug it and dig into it. That's all what you do.
Oh, very yummy. Finger licking.
Yum.
It's said that one of the aromas that takes people back to Egypt is that of the street food. Marinated meat cooking over charcoal, and of the dish called kushari, which is sold by street sellers and restaurants alike.
It's a very simple meal and it's very delicious, and end of the show you know how delicious it is.
Teresa Shahata says kushari is the dish her colleagues clamour for when everyone in the tax office is asked to bring in a traditional dish from their country. She starts by adding rice to a saucepan with a little olive oil and stirring in salt. What does cooking it like this do?
Fluff it up. It just makes it nice and fluffy.
She then simmers it with the lid on. In separate pots, she cooks lentils in unsalted water and pasta in salted water. She then coats the cooked pasta in a little olive oil, adds the soft lentils, and then the rice. She sprinkles on some of the Baharat spice mix. For the topping, Teresa fries onion rings to a sweet dark brown. Oh, that waft of spice just comes up, doesn't it?
It's gorgeous. Very nice.
Then the accompanying sauce. She sautés diced onion and garlic, Then adds tomato paste, water, salt, baharat, pepper and ground chilli. The fragrant sauce cooking for 15 minutes. The kushari is dressed with the sauce and deep dark fried diced onion.
It looks really good.
Across the Middle East, there's no such thing as a square loaf. The bread is flat and often baked in searing temperatures. Bread takes the place of cutlery and most people can't live without it.
So, Amani, what do you call Egyptian bread?
Aish.
Aish.
Yeah.
In Egypt, it's also flat and usually wholemeal, says Amani Mohammed from Taste of Egypt.
Very healthy version. Because we sprinkle the flour, then we put bran, we'll roll it out and sprinkle more flour and more bran, and then we'll put it in the oven and it tastes a bit more crunchy.
Oh, so it's between Lebanese and Turkish.
It is.
And tell me, what do you eat with Egyptian bread?
What don't you eat with Egyptian bread?
Really?
Well, just about everything that we eat is with bread.
Egyptians have two favourite vegetables and both have the same unusual property when they're cooked. Okra and a leafy vegetable called molhia have a wonderfully slimy quality that's highly prized.
Mostly every week we have molokhia or bamia or, cooked. I love it.
And so it's part of your being.
Oh, yes.
After 30 years in Australia, Nadia Fauzi still adores bamia or okra. She tops and tails it for her favourite dish.
Get some ghee, enough for the onion. Saute the onion for a while. Then we put the garlic with it. And then we can add the meat.
Nadia loves using lamb backstrap because it's beautifully lean and cooks to very tender.
We keep sort of toss it around to seal the whole meat, yeah. Add the tomato puree to that. Now we have to put the salt and pepper. We keep that for at least half an hour, all the sauce and the meat to cooked. Put the okra. We leave it about 5-10 minutes. And now it's boiling.
It's really boiling.
Yeah. You have to put the lemon juice.
What does the juice do?
The juice is just to separate the okra, the bamia from the sauce. It doesn't make it sticky.
Oh, look at that lamb. It's so tender.
It is.
What a great Egyptian export, both you and okra.
Even more popular than okra is the beloved leafy vegetable that grows in the intense heat of summer, sometimes up to 6 inches a day. It's called molhia, cultivated in the Nile Delta since the time of the pharaohs. It has the highest protein of any vegetable, vitamins A and D, and is said to have amazing effects on the libido. Some people just love it for its taste. Mary Maximos enjoys it fresh, but says the frozen leaves work just as well.
It's a real summer meal, and you can either have it as an entree, you can have it as a main meal with some lemon. It's really refreshing.
Mary's an Australian-born Egyptian who has such a passion for the food of her ancestors that she started Egyptian cooking classes in Melbourne 3 years ago.
Okay, so I'm going to make my molokhia with rabbits today. You could use chicken, beef, you can have it vegetarian, and we leave him in a mixture of minced garlic, lemon and salt. Okay, so I'm just going to use some ghee. I really like ghee because it gives that really rich flavour. With any meat, we want to seal it before we add it to liquids. It just keeps all the juices in there. I'm just going to put the rabbit into my boiling water. I've just put salt, bay leaves and an onion in there halved, and then we cover it up And we boil that for about half an hour or so until the meat is tender.
Once the rabbit's tender, Mary strains the stock ready for the chopped molhia.
So it's important you don't boil it, isn't it?
Yeah, it will separate. The leaves will sink to the bottom and the stock will float to the top, and it will be bad molokhia.
The most important part of the dish is a garlic sauce called atisha. In ghee, many cloves of garlic are sautéed. Some people add ground coriander, others prefer fresh, and all love the small explosion as the tisha is added to the molhia.
When you go, it's like all the bad spirits and that go away, and it's going to be good.
It smells incredibly grassy, doesn't it?
And very fresh in summer.
It is very fresh in summer.
Right throughout Egypt, there's a delicious mix of nuts, seeds and spices that's loved by all, but is known as the food of the poor. The aromatic dukkha, which is traditionally eaten with bread and oil, is mixed up by most households once a week, or bought ready-made at the market.
C'est finish.
Oh, thank God.
Others prefer a blender. Morris Mansour makes fresh dukkha every couple of days for his restaurant, which has been serving Egyptian food for over 20 years.
Dukkha is an essential element of the Egyptian cuisine. It could be used in so many ways. Complement, whether it's a dip, to finish a dish like molokhia, to put it in a salad. I use it to garnish my falafel, to do my fool. So really, Egyptian cuisine without the dukkha is not an Egyptian cuisine. Put coriander, kuzbara, pine nuts. You're good to move.
So you're looking for just light golden, eh?
That's right. Now we're putting the sesame seed a little bit. Sesame seed doesn't need much.
Nice and toasty smelling, isn't it?
That's probably about right now.
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll get there. We put the rest of the ingredient, which is common, the buharat, mixed spices, chili, salt. Now we're going to the fun part, and then we're ready to go.
Oh, it smells great.
Yeah, here you are. And it's crunchy, but this is how it should be, you know?
Oh, that's so spicy and toasty. Oh, it's great.
The pinnacle.
Egyptians love their seafood. A long coastline and rivers full of fish mean some truly amazing dishes. Many are cooked in the same sort of clay pot, the tagine, that's associated with Morocco. Only in Egypt, the word's pronounced differently.
We pronounce it as tagine. I love it when you finish and you're ready to eat and everyone is sitting down and you open the lid and just the steam comes out. It's beautiful. It gets everyone excited.
Rami starts by making a marinade using crushed garlic, olive oil, cumin, a good squeeze of lime, and fresh coriander.
Remember, it's a rustic recipe, so you don't have to go really fine.
He adds cracked pepper and salt.
Mix it together. That's a perfect marinade for any seafood. Traditionally, you use Nile perch, but I'm using today barramundi because the texture of it holds better in the tagine.
Rami also includes calamari and peeled green prawns.
Love that smell. Okay, so that's ready.
A sauce in which the seafood cooks slowly starts in a blender with tomatoes, chopped celery, a good sprinkle of cumin, and peeled roasted capsicum, including the seeds. Rami then fries red onion, adds the tomato and capsicum puree, tomato paste, salt and pepper. He pops in a few coriander leaves and some of his beloved cumin.
Yeah, that's nice now.
Lovely colour.
Yeah. Okay, so put some of the sauce on the bottom there. Remember, it has the onions and everything, so add your seafood. Look at that. Rest of the sauce. You want all the fish to be covered. Oh, that would be beautiful. You just need a few minutes just to start it, and then you whack it in the oven. And we'll go in the oven for about 45 minutes on a medium heat. Just make this.
It's a great waft of steam.
Tuck in.
It looks fantastic. It smells amazing.
Yeah, just the coriander and the garlic. You can smell it. A bit of barramundi.
It smells absolutely divine. That's going to be a big mouthful.
Yeah.
That's so good, isn't it?
Yeah.
That spicing is fantastic.
Thank you.
Really yummy. Really good.
We don't believe in doing anything too small. So whenever we make sweets, it's always a large tray of basbousa or kunafa or whatever it may be.
When Egyptian people finish a meal, they go out in style with lots of sugar and ghee. One of the best-known sweets is basbousa, made with semolina and rosewater syrup.
This is my mother's famous recipe. She's passed it on to me, and it's just lovely. The main ingredient is semolina, a little bit of soft raising flour, sugar, some desiccated coconut, some natural yogurt, just for a bit of creaminess, and some melted butter.
So now I know why basbousa is the lovely golden colour it is. It's got so much butter in it. And hands.
It all has to come together, kind of nothing left on the sides of the bowl, and it kind of feels like a bit like sand.
Right. So you've greased this slightly, just in case.
Just a little. And the key is to get it as even as possible all the way around so that it cooks evenly. After it's been standing for about half an hour, it's ready to be cut. The classic shape is the diamond shapes.
And you're cutting right down.
All the way down. And you just pop in an almond in each diamond. Then you just simply pop it in an oven that's been preheated to 180 degrees, fan forced, for 20 minutes.
So you make a syrup to pour on top later?
Yeah, bring some sugar and water to the boil. Just as about to start bubbling, pop in a few drops of lemon and then about 1 cupful of rose water. Stir just until the sugar dissolves, and then once it dissolves, stop stirring, or else the sugar will start crystallising around the edges.
Oh, okay. And how long do you leave the syrup on for?
Only about 5 minutes. It'll start to thicken slightly. Yeah. The cake needs to be hot and the syrup needs to be cold. So when the hot cake comes out, just pour over the cooled syrup.
This looks great. Look at it. That's really lovely. Beautiful. Very moist and coconutty and
nice crispy top.
Nice crispy top.
On our next safari, the hearty deliciousness of German food. Salt-dusted pretzels, crunchy pork knuckles and a show-stopping Black Forest cake. Join me online now and chat about tonight's episode.
It's all right.
It's really refreshing. Maybe an aphrodisiac.
Really?
I don't know. Well, if you're looking at me, maybe not a good example.
Oh, I tell you, 7 months pregnant, something's working.
I'm not the best example, maybe.